ghetto brother.
Uh-huh.
You know, ironically, he was there in the peace treaty that happened in Hoe Avenue.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because it was one of his members who died that created, you know, these gangs to come together because we were killing ourselves.
Ah.
You understand what I'm saying? And it's funny how when people talk about our cultural movement and what's labeled as hip-hop, and everybody refers it to Herc, when it's that, and that's just a bold-faced lie. You know, Herc, for everything that he's done and the credit that he's getting, he should get. Like, really, Herc was the first Bronx ghetto promoter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but the person who packaged was right now a cultural movement that comes from Bambaataa.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, when people talk about the hip hop culture, you know what I'm saying? It starts at 73, and it's funny because that's the same year that Zulu Kings is established. You know what I'm saying? For somebody to tell me your track, you've been a part of hip hop, you know, since like 75, 76, or whatever the case may be. And realistically, I am a b-boy. I am a rocker b-boy.
Yeah.
I really don't need the name hip hop to solidify what community I represent. Because really, hip hop is just a concept. It's a marketing tool to promote youth self-expression in the inner cities, in New York, okay?
Yeah.
And it was brought out by Bam in 1982. He labeled that tour that he did in 82 hip-hop.
Yeah. Yeah.
You understand? So people cannot take the label hip-hop and bring it down to 73 because when you label something, it becomes point of origin.
Yeah.
So there's a misconception of who is the father of hip-hop, and bar none, it is Bambaataa.
Interesting points there. If we can go back to Herc and the early parties, you know, a lot of people say that the Nigga Twins were the first b-boys. How do you feel about this? That concept?
That concept, that's the biggest bold-faced lie in history.
Why is that?
History.
What is your reasoning behind that?
Because there's nothing that they have done or they were a part of, and not even their dance style, has any influence to the way it's being done today. They don't lay no foundation in my generation that allows the evolution to the way the dance is being done today. They don't play no part of it. Now, I have a link on my page, and it's with Coke La Rock, who's considered the first MC to a block party or a hurt party. And he clearly states that the first b-boy to exist was a guy named Sata. And his name was really Salsa. And he even claims in this link that he comes way before the Nigga Twins, and he is to be considered the first b-boy.
Wow.
Word.
Now with Coke La Rock is depicting a Cool Herc jam, and he affiliates salsa in a Cool Herc jam. Mind you, salsa is Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
So for them to erase who salsa was and put the Nigga Twins before them, even though Zulu Kings were established before the Nigga Twins were around, we have something wrong here.
Word.
But was this guy Salsa? Was he doing the same movements that Zulu Kings and people like you were doing? Do we know that?
Yeah, well,
do we know?
Yeah, he plays more of a Puerto Rican flavor to it. You know, you got to remember Zulu Kings. If you ever see Frosty Freeze dance,
yeah.
Frosty Freeze used to do a thing called a Zulu King around the world spin. All right.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at the Freshest Kids, there's a guy named Keith,
Yeah.
and he's dancing sporadic, almost a tap dancing style on the floor.
Yeah.
But you can see there is no transition from top rock to to drops to his style of footwork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He would just drop on the floor and do almost like a Lindy Hop style of dancing in a crouch position. Okay?
Yeah.
So you add that and the around the world type of spin that Frosty would do, that was Zulu King floor foundational footwork.
Word.
Even with that, and the Puerto Ricans did not get involved in that dance style, it would have ended in 1974 because there's nothing there to build from.
Trac,
Even at that time, the dance still has not been completed.
Word. Trac, how about the man they call the rubber band man from? I guess he have stories from the Brooklyn side and from the Bronx side. From from the footage that we're hearing from like Marine Boy, these first generation Bronx rockers. Did you ever have the chance to meet Rubber Band or witness any of his dance moves at all personally?
No. See, Rubber Band. Let me tell you, this is crazy about what Brooklyn says about Rubber Band. All right. They really don't know who Rubber Band is. That's first and foremost. To them, Rubber Band is an urban legend, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the Bronx rockers and a lot of the Brooklyn rockers will give him the credit of him being influential to Latin rockers or Puerto Rican rockers to establish a certain style that came together with the Zulu style of dancing that allows to create this dance form. That I would definitely solidify as something that's fact. Now, it's funny how they had over 30 years to correct their history. And up to today, they still don't know where they really come from. Because realistically, what they had in 30 years, I found out more about their history in a 2-hour phone call.
Wow.
I am the only one that knows what Rubber Band did for a living, where he brought his clothes, what's his real name, why he died, who killed him, and I know his girlfriend that was with him for 3 years and was there when he got killed.
Jeez.
Wow.
So what they did in 30 years, I got it through one phone call, and it was directly through Rubber Band's wife.
Wow.
You know, it's different. I'm going to tell you what's the ironic part of it. A lot of the rockers from my generation, you got to remember, I am a product of the generation that came before me.
Yeah.
So guys like Joseph Ulvena, guys like Chuck, guys like Little Dave, guys like Clarky, Marine Boy. I am a product of who they were.
Word.
So you can see the evolution of their style of dancing through what I incorporated, or my generation incorporated, to the way it keeps evolving today.
Yeah.
And there's one thing that we all agree. That style of rocking that Brooklyn is doing now, that's more of an outlaw style of dancing, is what killed the dance in 74.
Yeah.
Because if you're telling me that in 1972 and 73, you was doing that outlaw style of dancing, and the dance form as the years go by, and the next generation becomes a part of it, you could show an evolution in how it's evolved from the first aspect of it to the way it's being done today. That style doesn't show no evolution.
Yeah.
So what they did is they tried to capture a 70s dance and almost how you taking something that's retro and re-establishing it all over again. So they took a 70s style of dancing that was more of an outlaw street dancing, and they renamed it, and they came out in the 90s.
Yeah.
You understand? Not knowing that the Bronx style of dancing is the real evolution to rocking.
So you don't believe the stories that rocking came out in the late 60s in Brooklyn?
Oh, no. You got to remember, rocking, it's a part of New York. So, I mean, it parallels it parallels Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, Manhattan. When I say Manhattan, I mean Spanish Harlem.
Yeah.
And then you had the Lower East Side of Manhattan. That's the 5 points of origin to the dance.
Word.
Okay? For somebody to say it started it in Brooklyn, then, you know, if they say it started in Brooklyn, can you show me the evolution of the way it once was to the way it's being done today?
Yeah.
You understand? A real dance form, each generation incorporates something that allows the dance to keep evolving. You understand? Yeah. Now, if you were to take a rocker from Brooklyn, okay, a rocker from Brooklyn, and you take a Bronx-style rocker, and you put them to dance a whole song, I guarantee you that Brooklyn cannot compete to a Bronx-style rocking. Because a Bronx-style rocker does not need an opponent in front of them to dance.
Word.
For them to say that style of dancing with the big grabbing and the stabbing and this whole burns and jerk, it was allowed in the major clubs in Manhattan. That is downright outrageous. That style of dancing would have never existed in an Italian ran club in Manhattan. That's more of a neighborhood dance. That's not a dance form that was allowed back then in any establishment. You understand? So now you have to ask this question. If you look at somebody like a Mr. Wiggles or a Why Not?
Yeah.
That's Bronx style rocking. You could dance to a whole record without having an opponent in front of you.
Or having to go down. Right?
What happened?
Or not having to go down and jerk and start doing footwork, right? It's crazy because even the Bronx style rocking, we have a specific jerk. But the jerk that we used was more of the same style of transition that b-boys do.
Yeah.
You understand?